I'd like to introduce now Sid Mofya, who will be the facilitator for the TED Talk on social responsibility. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Good to see some familiar faces and to meet some new friends. My name is Sid Mofya. I was born in Kitwe and lived in Zambia for about 20 years until I moved away to go to college, and haven't lived in Zambia since, but Zambia always lives in me. Like they say, Zambia kuchalo. I'd like to spend some time today talking about, so the question that Frida posed to me is, am I my brother's keeper? And as I was thinking about this, I was trying to integrate a lot of different things that I have done and that I have experienced into answering this question, am I my brother's keeper? The first place I'd like to start is talking about my parents. We had a very amazing conversation here about the role of parents in how we deal with our children's mental health, and this is something that I'm thinking about with my two daughters. But my biggest inspiration in my life, bar none, is my parents. They grew up a typical Zambian upbringing of their time. Their parents were uneducated. They got an education, and they gave their children an education. And in being typical, they only had 4 children. I was the first of those 4. But whenever we were at home, there was always somewhere between 16 and 25 people at our house. You know, this was just normal. I didn't understand it at the time because I was the one who had to give up my bed for the visitors every time. It's like, why me? Why always me? What I did not realize my parents were doing is they were providing for their family and for us, but they were also providing for a bigger community. So they had a bigger vision in mind. So they managed to integrate getting more for themselves and a more meaningful existence where they're providing for others. And this is really the theme I'm carrying through this brief presentation. It's the idea that we can get more for ourselves, but we can also create meaning by taking care of others. When my parents were about to retire from their work, they worked for the mines, they took their retirement and poured it into a blank piece of land where they built one room to start a school. And every year they would take in 30 children, and from the money that they got from those 30 children at the school, they built the next classroom. So over a period of about 10 years, they built a school. And today that school has 300 children every year go through the school. And today that school, in an area where grade 7 results are not that good, has 100% pass rate every year from that school. So this is the inspiration that I get to draw on and have to live up to. I spent the last 10 years in technology and investing, working with some of the most remarkable entrepreneurs in the world. And the ones that really impressed on me were the ones where I saw this marriage of mission and getting more. So they saw something in the world that was missing, something that was a problem to solve, and that's what inspired their mission. And they ended up building really great businesses. A good example of this is an entrepreneur from Indonesia. He knew how to breed fish. And basically he would breed fish to pay for his college. And after college, guess what? He decided, well, I think this could become a business. And they went through, so they started 2013, went through a really tough 5 years trying to tell people that agribusiness was a good business to be in. And they were right, but everybody else did not understand. But if we look back today, this company is now a unicorn. They're the first agribusiness in the world to go from a startup to become a unicorn, the first Southeast Asian agri-tech company to become a unicorn. And what inspired them is this idea that you can do more and you can also create meaning. So what does it look like for us? I believe for us it's really asking a few questions. And the way I've framed this is a very simple acronym: FIRE, F-I-R-E. The first question really is fuel. And this is thinking about what resources do we already have. Often when we think of trying to do something in the world, we're thinking of, I need to do something big or something very remarkable. But often we have more resources than we think we do at our disposal. It's the relationships, it's the money, of course, but it's also the access that we have. And as people in the diaspora, we tend to have more access than people back at home. So we recognize the glitches in our communities, the things that need fixing. We then think about what are our resources that we already have at our disposal. So that's the F. I is integration. I recognize that trying to do more impactful work is challenging. We've got careers, we've got to pay our bills. So how do we do that? And I believe constantly thinking about integration is the way. So if I have a job at a clinic, how can I use my job at my clinic to do more, to have more impact? Perhaps there are supplies that I can mobilize from my work to take to my clinic. If I work at an investment firm like I do, how can I provide more? How can I integrate what I am already doing to create impact? And in my case, it will be mentoring entrepreneurs, African entrepreneurs. And I've made it a point to if it's an African entrepreneur, there's no filtering. We're having a conversation. If it's not, maybe we don't have time. But we make choices like that. And then the RE is ripple effect, thinking about the long-term impact of what we can do. So again, it might be that we're looking for a new job. What's the I need to think about what is the short term. I need to figure out how am I going to pay my bills for the next 12 months, 18 months. But I'm also thinking about what is the long term, and it's always helpful to take that vantage point of what is 20 years from now. How does that change my choice today when I'm taking on a new job? And that's the ripple effect. So the reason I think this is important is that we are at a critical point in our world. We have many crises going on. We have the climate crisis. We have the mental health crisis. Back home, we have poverty and unemployment. We have an energy crisis that's gripping the nation. And I believe we can all play a role, and we all have an individual, unique role that we can play. And I believe thinking about what resources we already have, how we can integrate with what we are already doing, and thinking about the long term can really help us to get there. And this is my hope that we will do that. So thank you, Frida, for giving me the time and the opportunity to speak about this. I would love to open up for any questions so we can continue the discourse, because this really is a discourse. And my closing call is, let's harness our resources to get more impact. Thank you. So if there are any, looks like there's one here. There's one question up here, I believe.
Thank you for that wonderful talk. So quick question. What plans do you have in order to foster the vision that you have right now?
For me,
Yes.
my plans. I'm doing a number of different things in Zambia. The energy crisis is a big one. Every time you talk to somebody in Zambia, they either cannot get through, or if you can get through and power has just come, that's a good time for them to be doing other things. So I'm working with an organization that I've been working with for about 3 years to bring new power solutions into Zambia. That's one thing I'm doing. Another thing I'm doing is we're organizing a conference at the end of the year to bring people who are investors, who are business people, who are entrepreneurs together. It's going to be in December in Lusaka, and you're welcome to come. So trying to use the resources that I have access to get things done back home. Thank you. Looks like there's a question there.
Thank you. I don't mean to be the one asking all the questions, but I had to ask this one. Thank you for sharing that your parents have a school back home. That's also very close to my heart. My mom happens to have a school and built it in the same way through encouragement from people that were bringing their kids to the school. My question is, since in the spirit of continuing on this legacy, because opportunities for Zambian kids are quite rare, and especially since you live here in a very privileged society, what efforts are you making to try and create opportunities for the more than 300 kids that are coming through your parents' schools, some of the alumni from your parents' schools? Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great question. I don't know how to answer the question beyond really trying to support. My mom's still around and she's still running the school. So I work very closely with her in supporting her with the school. I am trying to understand more, because now some of those kids, some of them have graduated from college and they're doctors and so on. So I think there's an opportunity there for university education, whether that's here or somewhere else. It's an area I would like to look into some more. I have to say I haven't done as much, but I think there's definitely a big opportunity there.